All right, swapping out the swamp today for a marsh. Little alliteration there for you. I'm out here at this nice little wetland preserve park. I think it's like 7 acres. It's not huge, but it is beautiful. I am specifically looking for the story of this place. What goes on here? Looking for plants, animals, you name it. So let's see what we can find. Right out the gate here, got some lichen, and lichen's everywhere. It grows all over the place. But this is a ruffle lichen, and I love it because it just has so much texture to it. And then this whole tree branch is just covered. Lichen breaks down the wood, so it makes sense. This tree must be dead or dying, and the lichens come in and it's starting to break it down. I've only been out here a few minutes so far, and I've already noticed probably 5 or 6 of these white herons that are out here, which is beautiful. I love seeing those. I've got fiddler crabs all over the sides of the trails here. Very skittish. I can't get more than like 10 feet close to them, and then they all just down in the holes. Luckily, I have a zoom lens, so I can still get some shots of them. And then also, I'm noticing a lot of maybe 2 or 3 different species of bees that are coming and visiting these flowers that line all these trails. You can see this place has a lot of boardwalks, which is really nice. It gives me easy access. I don't have to get the kayak out, and that's great. Especially because there's a storm coming. All these little fiddler crabs, I know they're like everywhere. There are thousands, probably millions of them just along the coastlines of South Carolina alone. And you see them everywhere. But for me, I love seeing them. I think it's really cool to see this patch of little creatures. And though they don't let me get very close, you can see them even up to here on the boardwalk. You can look down and they'll hang out for the most part. You can't lose that sense of nature, that sense of excitement that you get when you're seeing a creature in its natural habitat doing its own thing. Even though I've seen it hundreds of times already, it's still, I just love filming them. I love looking at them, photographing them. They're just kind of cool little creatures. I feel like it's really easy to take nature for granted. Like you see these beautiful grasslands and you're like, wow, it looks nice. But one thing I recently learned about this area is this grass right here is called cordgrass. And it's special because it can grow in the salt water that comes in with the tide. And that alone is cool, but it also helps hold sediment. And that sediment allows these mud crabs, the fiddler crabs, to come out and make homes. It also creates these nice estuaries that go up and down and allow smaller fish to come in and have a chance at life. But at the same time, also provides food for the bigger birds, like the herons that we've been seeing. It's kind of cool that we can have a plant that is just so adaptive and provides so much life. In fact, I was thinking just a little bit ago as I was walking down this path, it is crazy how much life there is and how much I'm like, oh, there's a bird. I want to shoot that. I want to get this. And there's all this life moving around me and I want to get all these shots. And this is one of the first times, unlike the swamp, where I'm sitting back going, just relax. There will be birds. We're gonna go one step at a time. And it's kind of a refreshing feeling. It just reminds me that these salt marshes, these wetlands, are some of the most fertile environments on the planet. They're just full of life, full of stories waiting to be discovered. And I love that. I feel obligated to point this little guy out right here because it's a prickly pear cactus. And I come from the southwestern United States, and it is a very, very dry desert, and they have prickly pear cacti there. It kind of blows my mind that a cactus can grow in the desert. It can grow tropical. I know there are different species. I've also learned that cacti can actually cross species. So there are new species being born all the time and there are old species dying out. So they're a little more difficult to classify, like a lot of life structure. But I have to point this out because I'm a desert guy and there's a desert plant in the salt marsh. Another little cactus, more cacti. Yeah, I might have to stop counting because there are a lot of these. Neat. You know, I love getting out more in the wild parts of the world that don't have the built structures and you got to get a little more in the mud. But also there's something to be said for this. Sometimes it's nice to just sit back, not have to worry about what's going on around you and enjoy. It goes right along with what I was saying earlier about being too excited to get all the shots of everything. Sometimes you just gotta sit. And as we've also learned from other videos, sitting still for a long period of time is a great way to get the animals to come out anyways. So it's like win-win. Take a break, get more shots. See what comes your way. That's a blue heron right over there. I won't be able to record it. As always, I get to see more than you do, and that makes me lucky. Another plant that's fun to see out here, these guys right here, also reminds me of home. We got the yuccas growing in the desert. And don't worry, I know these are not yuccas. These are palmettos, which also so happen to be a very big thing in South Carolina. It's on our flag. It's on my license plate. They still look like yuccas a little bit. They still got the pointy leaves, and I like that. Somehow I spotted this little guy. One of those famous cicadas you hear when you're walking out here in the wilderness all the time. Wow! There he goes. Let's talk about oysters for a second. They're important to an ecosystem, partly because they can filter just like 50 gallons, and that's just one. So all of this water gets cleaned by those little guys. For sure, you don't want to run your kayak over them because they scratch it like crazy. So I found this heron. It's up in the tree. I just wanted to get a shot of it so you can see my view versus what it means to have a 600mm zoom. Not that big from here. But man, can you get a good shot with the zoom. And because I know some of you are curious, here's what it would look like with an 8x zoom on my iPhone 17 Pro. There's a 4x, 2x, 1x. So that's about the most faithful to what I'm seeing right now. I love it when you get to see a heron while it's roosting in a tree like that. You can see them out on the water all the time. This is special. Sometimes when you're recording, you get super lucky, and I just found this branch. I noticed a couple birds were landing on it, so I set it up. I got what I think is a mockingbird up at the top, just chilling there, and then out of nowhere, a bright red cardinal comes and lands. Oh, the sweet, sweet feeling of victory, baby. I've been trying to get a photo of a cardinal, and I'm not that skilled of a photographer, and I can get them on the ground every now and then when they're looking for stuff to eat, but never have I been able to get one of them in the tree. And I got footage, which to me is just way harder to get because you got to set up the whole camera, you got to make sure it's not shaky. It may not be 10 out of 10 cinema, but man, that made my day. Got a bright bird in a tree. What more could you ask for? I know this is just a goal down here, but sometimes you got to know when to push your luck with wildlife, right? I get a little closer and I record it, and then I get a little closer, just every time hoping it doesn't fly off. And it's kind of an interesting game of cat and mouse as a photographer. As you see something, you know you got to be quiet. Luckily, I already got this one recorded, but that thing's pretty far down there. And you can see again, my camera is able to see it pretty dang well. And yet, I know if I get closer, I might get a better shot of its feathers, of its eyes, you name it. So I'm going to keep on trying. Maybe it'll stay, maybe it won't. Sometimes you get lucky and 2 or 3 more birds show up. I'm loving this. One more good example of why you should have a zoom lens. If you look right about there, when my hand goes away and it refocuses, you'll see a whole bunch of white dots. It's a small group of white herons hanging out there. This is what it looks like from my camera view. I think one of the things I love about getting out here and trying to get video and photo of all these animals is how much it changes your perspective on what you're seeing out here. Where normally I'd come out and enjoy a nice walk and probably see some nice birds and it'd be a peaceful experience. I feel like I'm starting to scan things. I take more time in a single place. You start to realize that, again, like I've said in other videos, that places are way more alive than at first they seem if you sit and wait. I've been here just an hour and a half-ish, and you can already see this water is getting nice and low. We're getting into the mudbank time of the day, also known as feeding time for the wading birds. This is a little area here where at high tide, the water would be just a few inches deep, and now that it's starting to drop and get low, it's all mud, and those little fiddler crabs come out to play. You can see there's whole communities of them. I mean, just look at that. Makes me wonder what it's like to live in a fiddler crab community. Probably a good inspiration for stories. Imagine people that act like crabs. They all have their little holes. They come out to interact, to do quick business, and anytime a stranger comes around, they shut right in. I know it's a common trope for small towns, but imagine a big city like this full of people like that. Would make an interesting place, don't you think? Tons of little crabs all gathered up, and when you start walking these paths, they just scatter in every direction. Come on, go, go, go! Well, the sun's getting hotter, so I think I'm gonna head back to my car, and it's a great blue heron flying right over there. Okay, well, now I'm gonna have to get another shot because it just landed in a tree, and I'm a sucker for that. The marsh is alive, there are stories being told, And I love being out here. Just a reminder, again, you gotta keep giving yourself inspiration if you wanna write beautiful stuff. You wanna write beauty, you gotta experience beauty, and it doesn't get better than this. If you liked what you just saw, don't forget to subscribe. If you wanna see more behind the scenes, you can go ahead and head to my website. It's robertcadethompson.com, and you can sign up for my newsletter. I send out a letter every Wednesday with behind the scenes, some nature essays, usually a link to the video, and then as well as updates on any books that I'm currently writing. Next time, maybe we'll have to get out here on a kayak, because there are lots of little estuaries you can get back in here on. Here's hoping.